Welcome to Everyday Linux User. In today's video we're going to be looking at CachyOS. So here we are on the CachyOS website. It's spelled CACHYOS.org is the website you want to go to, and the very first paragraph says this. It says CachyOS is designed to deliver lightning fast speeds and stability, ensuring a smooth and enjoyable computing experience every time you use it. Whether you're a seasoned Linux user or just starting out, CachyOS is the ideal choice for those looking for a powerful, customizable and blazingly fast operating system. So that has set its stall out of what we're expecting. Blazingly fast operating system. Now if I look at CachyOS, it's actually number 17 in the list, so it's gone quite high, so it's getting a good reputation for itself. It's based on Arch, it's originated from Germany. Desktop, it says it's KDE Plasma, and so let's go to the download page. You can download a GUI installer, so you can do direct from SourceForge, etc. I've already done it, but if I click that, you can see it's going to download. Again, it's 2.4 gigabytes, not very much at all. So let's create a virtual machine. So you can see I've got that there, so we'll take that. It's based on Arch, so let's see if that's in there. So Arch is there, so we can click forward. Memory, we're going to be fair. So I'm going to create a new volume in VMs, and we're going to call it Cachy. We'll give it 20 gigabytes. Choose that volume, and we're going to click forward, and we're going to call it Cachy. Click finish, and you can see it's come up. We're going to choose the default option. As is normal with these virtual machines, I have to configure the display settings. Fortunately, it's quite easy to do. That did not work very well at all. On the second attempt it managed to do it. Right, so here we are within Cachy. We're going to just do the installer first. I don't believe in messing around in the live images. May as well just install it. So we're going to click there. It says online is recommended, so we're going to do that. Here we are in the installer. Got this install log in the background. I'm going to minimize that. It's quite annoying, and we're going to minimize that as well. So here we are, standard Calamares installer. We're going to go for American English, that's all it's given us. We're going to choose London, which is where I am. Incidentally, if you're ever following along with these, you can change the regions and the zones, or you can click on the map to say where you are. You can also change the system languages and dates by clicking these change buttons here. If I click next, what you can also see in this installer is it's got the list of options. It's linear of where we are in the process. It's got welcome, location, we're now on keyboard, and then it'll move to partition. So you can see what's going to happen each step of the way. So keyboard, default UK. I'm going to erase the entire disk. Remember, I'm in a virtual machine, so if you want to do this and you aren't in a virtual machine, make sure you backed up your system first. This is a virtual machine install. Click next, and next again, and actually I'm going to go back. It's asking me which desktop I want to use, so that's kind of good. So Plasma is the default. I feel like I should go with that, being that I downloaded the Plasma option. Other options include XFCE, no desktop at all, GNOME, Hyperland, Sway. But I'm going to stick with the Plasma. I'm going to click next. Then it's asking what packages you want to install. So it's got needed, KDE desktop, and the base packages. So print and support, shall we put print and support on? I feel like we should. I've got a HP printer scanner as well, so I'm going to put that in. I'm going to put print and support on. there anything else in here that looks like it should be installed? You've also got accessibility tools. It says what Firefox and language package, so we're going to install that as well. So we've got Firefox, and I think that's all we need at this point. So let's click next. Users, I'm going to set myself up as a user. I'm going to call it Cachy. Set myself a password. I'm not going to log in automatically. I'm going to click next, and now it's ready to install. So I'm going to click install, install now, and Cachy will now install onto this virtual machine. I'm not going to force you to sit and watch this happen. I'm going to come back once the installation has completed. So here we are. It says all done, so we're going to restart the computer and see where we are. It's going to load in the wrong graphics mode again. I'm going to have to change that once we boot in, I'd imagine. No, that this only happens because I'm in a virtual machine. It wouldn't happen if you were installed onto an actual system. Again, it's done this display not active. We're going to wait for it to come back as it did last time. Interestingly, rebooting, it's actually gone in at the right resolution now. Right, so let's ignore that little problem. We've got this welcome screen with documentation, readme, release info, wiki, stuff for support, how to get involved, develop, how to install apps and tweaks, and then you've got this language, and you can choose to have this at startup or not. We're going to do the hardware test as the first thing, as normal. So I've got the Wi-Fi adapter in, and if I go down here, you can see you can connect to the internet. And that connected. Okay. Let's look at the Bluetooth. I'm going to minimize this. Going to enable that. Bluetooth doesn't seem to be overly successful. What we'll do is we'll reboot in a minute and try that again. Printers, this should work, being that I installed the HP software. That work. There we go, it's found it now. Seems to have got itself a bit stuck. That died. Feels like it's died. Oh, there we go. So that's printing set up. And you can see the notifications say that as well. I am going to reboot, see if we can get Bluetooth working. Now it's not coming up at all, it's stuck in a little loop here. Oh, finally. So I haven't got Bluetooth to work, so I've gone online, I've searched Cachy Bluetooth, and it's come to this 14 things to do after installation. So one of the things is update your system. So we are going to do that. So we need a terminal. Sudo pacman -syyuu. And it says there's nothing to do. Bluetooth seems to be off. Yeah, it's the standard thing here. Now we've got an icon in the panel. Add new device. It's Falmer speakers.
Connecting.
And that's it connected. Now, okay, it wasn't straight away, and it was easy enough to find this article to turn on Bluetooth, but for the everyday Linux user, you wanted that just to be there to start with. So that's something that could be improved in the future, but it was easy enough once you found this web page. So with that done, what we can now do is go to Everyday Linux User, and welcome to the first episode of a new series that I'm going to call Will It Pass? You may remember. So that works okay, so we can now disconnect.
Disconnected.
And that's the hardware sorted out. So the experience there, Wi-Fi was easy enough. Bluetooth, I had to re-enable the services. Printing was okay, it wasn't automatically found, but I could do it manually via the URL, so that works. So let's look to see what we have installed by default with CachyOS. Under development, we have a diff viewer, which is like WinMerge, I would imagine. We've got the Kate editor, which is part of KDE. Under graphics, we've got GwenView for image viewing, and we've got a scanning application. Under internet, Firefox, which I chose when I installed Cachy. We've also got Cachy browser. We'll have a look at that in a second. We've got the KDE Connect tools and VNC server browsers and SSH browsers. Under multimedia, we've got VLC media player, no audio player. Under settings, we've got firewall settings, print settings, system settings. And then under system, we've got a Cachy Hello, a tool providing access to documentation and support, kernel manager, package installer. We'll look at that shortly. Got Dolphin file manager and Octopi is installed as well for installing software. And then under utilities, we have a few utilities. Now, obvious omission there would be any sort of Office suite. Let's have a look at this Cachy browser, see what it's about. It looks a lot like Firefox to me, rebranded, but you've got the Cachy search engine, which they've put in there. And I'm sure it works perfectly well as a browser, because I think it's probably just Firefox underneath, or maybe Chromium, I don't know. But it works. It's in a dark theme that we're using at this moment in time. The package installer. So we've got a list of popular applications. This is very similar to MX Linux, in fact, and a bit like Manjaro as well. So down here under browsers, you can choose any one of these browsers here. So Cachy is installed by default. We've got Chromium, Falcon, Libre Wolf, Firefox, CSR, Qt browser, ungoogled Chromium. Haven't actually got Google itself, but that's the default ones there. Audio packages, we haven't got any audio packages installed, but you can install something like Strawberry. You can see that's quite small in size, so it's worth installing. Incidentally, whilst it is installing, you can't still search for other packages. Under communication, Teams is available, Zoom's available. So you can line up all your installs just by ticking the boxes. Discord, Mumble, Slack. Under development, you've got Gitkraken for Git as a Git client, IntelliJ for Java development, Jenkins, NetBeans for Java as well. We've got PyCharm for Python. Under games, you've got a basic set of games. Graphics, GIMP's available. We've got internet stuff for downloading file managers. You've got Ramina for desktop, for remote desktop. got kernel stuff here, mail programs like Evolution if you wanted an Outlook type program. Thunderbird's there as well. Under multimedia, Handbrake for converting your DVDs to MP4 format. Under Office, we've got FreeOffice, LibreOffice Fresh or LibreOffice Still, got OnlyOffice. So a good choice of office suites. Let's put OnlyOffice on. WPS as well, and something called Yozo Office, which is a Microsoft compatible office suite. Actually, let's go for that one. I've never heard of Yozo. Under Other, DroidCam, SoundWire Variety, which is a wallpaper changer. Different package managers. I recommend probably installing Discover as we're in KDE. Under Video, got Dragon Player as an alternative to VLC, Kdenlive, and then you've got some virtualization stuff as well. Boxes, Virt Manager, and VirtualBox. So under this repo section, you can see all the packages that you can install. So you'd use this for popular packages, then you'd use this one for other packages. You can see it says some of the packages have conflicts. We can do replace or ignore. Let's do replace. I'm not sure what's going to happen. We'll just click OK and see where we get on. As an everyday Linux user, that's not the message you want to see. Let's just try one package on its own. The desktop wallpaper, I don't find that overly inspiring. It's a bit cartoony for my liking. In fact, I'm not keen on any of them, to be honest with you. We'll go for that. So in theory, I should have an office suite now. Let's have a look. I've never seen Yozo, so let's have a look, see what it is. Oh, it's in Chinese. That's not really what I was looking for. Let's try OnlyOffice. So now OnlyOffice is installed. We can create a document. There are of course other office suites available. Now one of the things I wanted to install was Discover. And the reason for that will become very evident. Now, after installing Discover, the other thing I wanted to do was enable Flatpaks. Now I want Flatpaks on here, and the reason you want Flatpaks is if you want to stay out the terminal as often as possible, then the easiest way of installing software is to use Flatpaks. Now that might go against the performance aspects of Cachy because Flatpaks are going to be a little bit slower than native packages, but you saw previously how I had an issue with conflicting libraries and stuff. You won't get that with Flatpaks. Flatpaks work. Now when I go into Discover, because I installed the Flatpak package, I can add in FlatHub. So FlatHub's now there. I can go into Home and I can now search for Chrome. And the reason you want Flatpaks is that by default you're going to be installing packages native to Arch. And whilst Octopi is useful for searching for things, it's not going to find everything you need, which means you're going to find yourself in the terminal more often than you're not. And as the everyday Linux user, you probably don't want to be in the terminal. Not everyone wants to use the terminal day in, day out. So by having Flatpaks enabled, basically you can do things graphically. So you can see now I've got Chrome available, and I can install that, and allow me to install that from FlatHub without having to go through Arch user repositories or via the command line in any way whatsoever. So whilst that's doing that, let's have a little chat about the performance of Cachy. Actually, it's KDE, but you wouldn't really recognise it. It is actually quite. It does perform pretty well. Things load quite quickly. I wouldn't say it's lightning fast, but it is for a KDE desktop. It is running fairly well. You can see that strawberry player there. As a summary, what I would say is that installation is okay. It wasn't particularly fast, but it wasn't slow either. It installed. I was able to reboot and get into Cachy quite easily. Changing the display settings actually came up with an error, and more than once. Rebooting a couple of times, it actually got stuck during the reboot. I ended up at a black screen, and I had to restart the computer. Bluetooth wasn't enabled by default, which, you know, if you want to be critical, if you want to have an installed system and up and running straight away, you want things like Bluetooth, wireless, and to a certain extent printing to be enabled by default without having to faff around. Installing software, the list of popular applications available, that's fairly extensive, but if you want to make your life easier, enable Flatpak via Octopi, and then also install Discover, and you'll find that you can install Flatpaks, and that will make your life a lot easier. So all in all, Cachy is okay as an Arch based distro. I'm not sure I'd pick it over something like Manjaro or Endeavour, or indeed Garuda Linux, but it's okay. I can see why it's going up the rankings, and as it matures it's going to get better and better and better, but a couple of things need ironed out, and I guess that's, you're weighing up the performance aspects versus the actual usability aspects. And I think when Cachy has to try and get everything perfectly right, it might find itself slowing down a little bit, because like, why is that Bluetooth not enabled to start with? Why is there a page that says you've got to stop and restart the service? Things like that. All in all, it's an okay distribution for the everyday Linux user. You're probably going to hit a few bumps on the road, but that's it really. That's the end of the review. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Linux User.